We started out with 0 customers, 0 employees, and was working from 6 in the morning to sometimes 3 in the morning, and then back at it for 6, 7 days straight. In my eyes, money is a byproduct of good service, right? So I always just wanted to take care of the customer. Listen, if you're looking at strictly numbers to run a business, you're not going to be in business very long. Just jump. So many people are afraid to jump off that cliff, thinking their parachute won't open. Just jump. It'll open. You'll figure it out. You're going to get bumps and bruises. You might get a couple broken bones, whatever. You'll make it. Just if your persistence will always get you through it, right? Don't worry about being perfect. Just worry about being consistent.
Turn the lights down, and just put this on. It's right behind you.
The only garbage I see floating out there is just supportive.
Greetings, loyal ladies and gentlemen of the Garbage Gang. Welcome to another episode. Remember, if you want to be a member of the Garbage Gang, we need you to like this video and subscribe to our channel. We've got a special guest in studio here today. We've got Shawn Welsh of Welsh Automotive. They've got 2 locations, one in Exton, Pennsylvania, one in Westchester, Pennsylvania. Shawn, thanks so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Shawn, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you founded Welsh Automotive?
Yeah, so I mean, we were just we started from nothing, me and my wife. We decided to go into business in 2015 with a hope and a dream, right? So we started out with 0 customers, 0 employees, and was working from 6 in the morning to sometimes 3 in the morning, and then back at it for 6, 7 days straight. Did that for months, years. And then we grew it into what we have today, 2 locations and over 15 employees and thousands and thousands of happy customers. So it's been a ride.
What was your background and how'd you get into the automotive industry?
Yeah, so I actually used to be a motorcycle. I used to race motocross, and I used to work on my own bikes. So I always wanted to start my own motorcycle company, like working on bikes. And my sponsor at the time was like, no, you don't want to do that. I'm like, why? He's like, you want to do something that everyone has. So I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll switch to cars. So I graduated high school, went to automotive school, and became a technician. Worked as a technician for 8+ years, just kind of getting a good backbone of the industry. And then we decided that it was time to go out on our own.
When you were working for other people, at any point did you realize that there was something about what you were doing that made you want to start your own thing and work
100%.
for yourself?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you know, our industry gets a bad rap sometimes because people feel like they're getting taken advantage of or you know, ripped off. Like, you know, a lot of the stuff that we do is intangible, right? Like if I do something to your car and you pick it up, you're like, well, it feels the same as I dropped it off, right? So it gets a bad rap, and I saw a lot of bad things happening in the industry with people getting sold jobs that they didn't need, and it really just kind of pushed me even further and faster to do it myself.
And what's the basis of those values where you feel like it irritates you that other people are getting ripped off and everything like that?
I mean, especially in today's world, like, you know, people work so hard for their money, and like for them to just waste it on stuff that they don't need, that was like a driving force.
What was your upbringing like that was there? But did that play a role in you having those values?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Like, you know, my parents didn't have a lot. You know, they had enough, and they always supported and, you know, did everything they could for me. But, you know, money was always tight, right? Like, you know, so I feel like that's the everyday person, and like, you know, we need to be respectful of other people's time and money.
And growing up, were things like honesty and those kinds
Huge.
of values very big in your home?
Huge,
Yeah,
for sure.
So I want to tell the story about how we met because I think this is important.
Yeah.
I wanted to give a little bit of background and get a little bit of background from you before I went out and told this. But I think it's important to show that you're not all talk when it comes to character and everything like that. And my very first introduction to you had to do with this sort of thing. So when I had first moved to Chester County, Pennsylvania, I was at the point in my career where I had just bought the first relatively new vehicle in my entire life. To put this into perspective, when I was year one of being a lawyer, I was driving a car that I bought for $1,000 in a junkyard that had to be towed from the office parking lot on 3 separate occasions within that year. In law school, I drove a 97 Ford Thunderbird that I bought for $800 on Craigslist that had clear tape over the headlight, and the windshield wiper the stick had fallen out. And instead of getting it replaced, it sat in a cup holder. And if it rained, I would hold it in while driving with the other hand. So that gives you an idea of what kind of vehicles I had leading up to the first relatively new car. Mm-hmm. I get a call from my wife that she was at a local restaurant and the car wouldn't start in the parking lot. I don't know much about cars at all, not my thing. Everybody's got their thing where they know something about cars, not one of them for me. So we called AAA and I told them to just tow it to a mechanic. And he said, okay, I'll just tow it to the closest one, which was somebody in your general area, not you. Mm-hmm. I get a call sometime the following morning saying, hey, we did this, this, and this. You're going to need this, this, and this. You owe us X $100. Not calling before and saying, hey, here's how much it's going to cost or anything like that. And so I went down, and the repair that they were proposing was significant, somewhat pretty expensive. Yep. We're talking thousands of dollars. And so I had a bad feeling about it. I don't know much about cars, had a bad feeling about it, and noticed that your shop was a mile away. So I figure even if this car isn't in great shape right now, according to them, I'm sure it'll make it a mile. So I paid them what they said I owed them. I drove down to you. You said, okay, we'll take a look. And I got a call from you saying, hey, this part that they're saying needs to be fixed definitely needs to be fixed, but because of the age of your vehicle, this really should be covered by the warranty. You should go to the dealership that's nearby. They should take care of it for nothing. And I thought, wow, that's wild. This guy is sacrificing money. And sure enough, brought it to the dealership. That was 100% true. They took care of it. And I told you, I know you didn't make much on this. I don't think you charged me anything, frankly. Yeah. But you got a customer for life because I know that that's how you could trust somebody, right? Just doing the right thing in that situation, no matter what it is that you guys tell me that we need. I don't even want to say think twice. I don't think 1.5 times about it because I know that it's 100% legitimate. And do you have other customers
100%
who have had that first interaction with you?
100%. I mean, we've had so many customers with stories just like that. Mm-hmm. And for me, I never got into business for money. Like, the goal was never to make money. In my eyes, money is a byproduct of good service, right? So I always just wanted to take care of the customer, right? And my model was, if I could take care of as many people as I could, they would tell other people of how well I took care of them, and we'd build a business. And that's exactly what happened. And, fast forward 10 years later, right? We've been in business 10 years this year, and we still do the same exact thing. Like, I have not changed. Even though we have a team now, the team is trained to do it the same exact way. And we still, to this day, always look out for the customer and are completely honest with the customer.
Because there could be certain situations where handling something could be cost prohibitive in a repair. Isn't that true?
Yeah, 100%.
So if you got a vehicle that needs X amount in repairs, maybe it's worth more than replacing the vehicle.
And we have that conversation with people all the time. Like, if the car needs X amount of dollars and it exceeds the value of the car, I have that conversation, and I train my guys to have that conversation. Like, hey, look, it's completely your decision, but this is what I'm seeing, and this is what the car's worth. So, yes, we could do these repairs, and I don't foresee anything happening in the next year or two. So it might be a worthy investment for you. But if you had any doubts or concerns about getting rid of the car, now's the time to do it. And now's the time to take advantage of that.
So how do you go about getting employees who share those values? Because it's one thing to teach them this is how we do things around here. It's another thing for them to share those values and for that to come somewhat instinctive to them, because otherwise they're just trying to follow a script and everything. And that probably is not going to work out great, is it?
It's been so hard to find a good, solid team. And I'm we're so blessed that we have a great team. I mean, we wouldn't be anywhere where we are today if it wasn't for our team. I mean, everyone from, the newest technician to the service managers, right? We all play our part. We all play the job, right? And I think the one thing that helps the team understand that, like, I'm still right beside you is like, I'll go clean the bathrooms, right? Like I'll sweep the floors. I'll still mop the floors. Like I'm not above anybody. Like, I built this thing from nothing and I'm still not afraid to get my hands dirty. And I think them seeing that really helps them understand the vision and why we're here, right?
That's so funny you mentioned that, because my wife made a joke about this just a couple of days ago, how I always tell people at our firm that I wouldn't ask you to do anything that I wouldn't do myself.
Yeah.
And the fact is I have done all of them myself, kind of like you started solo.
Yeah.
And you do everything from answering the phones to the intake with, in your case, the customers, my case, the clients. But it sounds like we've got a very similar approach in that if you take care of people the right way and do the right thing, the business will follow.
Yeah.
Right? It's not a bottom line kind of thing from the outset. If you do it that way, it works out. And what you've done, now having 2 locations with all these employees, is evidence that that's actually true.
Yeah.
And I don't think they teach this in business schools, do they?
I mean, I've never had a college class a day in my life. I've never went to college. It's all just kind of common sense, right? Like for me, it's just taking care of people. That's it. It's simple.
So when you decided to expand, how was that? Was that a little bit scary at first?
Yeah, it was very scary for sure. But again, my vision is to help as many people as I can, right? And unfortunately, like we started out as a Sunoco gas station. We had 3 little bays. It was very tight. It didn't look like a legitimate business from the street, right? So we could only work on so many people's cars and we were very limited. So the only way I could help more people is if we either got a bigger shop, which obviously we have now, or to expand to another location. So that's was the driving force behind it. And that's the driving force for us to hopefully have more locations down the road.
Were you at the point where somebody would call and need something and you'd have to tell them, okay, I can get you in next Tuesday or something?
If it's an emergency, I will drop everything,
Really?
And still to this day, like, if you called the shop right now and like, hey, I need an oil change, right? We might not be able to get you into next week. But if you call me and say, hey, my car doesn't start, or hey, my check engine light's on and it's not running right, I'll be like, bring it in right now. We might not be able to finish it today, but I'll give you a loaner car. I'll do whatever I need. But, your car doesn't drive. You have an immediate issue. We need to fix it right now. I'll drop everything, put you ahead of everyone just to get this done. Or we'll stay late if we have to. Whatever it takes to get it done.
When you started to expand and you started to have, let's say, Austin working the one location, being the point of contact with people, how did people react to that initially? They
wanted me.
They wanted you, right?
They wanted me. And, it's so funny now today, like, back then that, Austin would answer the phone, like, is Shawn there? And he's like, yeah. Everyone did that, right? Because they were so accustomed to talking to me. They didn't know who Austin was. Right.
He's a great guy.
A great guy. He's amazing. But now now when Austin goes on vacation, and like I'm working, they're like, is Austin there? And it's funny. That's like, it's full circle, right? Like everyone wanted me at first, and now a lot of people don't even know who I am, and that's the best. Like I can't tell you how many times someone will come into the shop and think Austin's the owner, or at our Westchester location is John. They'll think he's the owner, and like the customer will leave, and like Austin or John will be like, they think I owned it. What do you think? I'm like, John, I don't care who they think own it. As long as they're happy, that's all I care about. They don't need to know that I own the place. I didn't do it for a label or recognition. Like I just want to take care of people. So I don't care who they think owns the place. Like as long as they're happy when they leave and their car is perfect, I don't care.
You have a wildly successful business, but by all accounts, you and I, we're small business owners, right?
100%.
In the grand scheme of things. And that's something that I think is becoming less frequent in this country.
It's harder to do.
And there are a lot more corporate entities out there. And I think that takes community out of it to some degree, out of the equation, where these people in the community are coming to somebody like you. They've got that connection. You live in the community. Yeah. You care about the community.
Sponsor stuff in the community.
In the communities. Talk a little bit about that. What kind of things do you get involved in terms of sponsorships?
So the biggest thing that we did is my wife is is a huge advocate for our community, and she always wants to give back as well. And she came up with the idea that we should do a toy drive every year. We started doing this probably 6 years ago, and we didn't know what to do, or this was our real first crack of trying to give back in any sort of means or whatever. So we started taking the toys down the shop, which was great. Like, we had a great time doing it. It was fun. I think the first time we donated like 100 toys in our eyes that first year, like, that was cool. Like, our customers did it. And then obviously we contributed a lot to it as well. But we wanted to hit the local community more. Because CHOP kind of was very broad, like, yes, and they had a lot of people that were donating toys to them as well, so they had a good supply of toys. So we wanted to find someone that maybe could need it closer in our community. So we found this place called Home of the Sparrow, and it's Chester County rooted, and it basically helps single mothers through tough times. So obviously Christmas is usually, or whatever holiday is a tough time. So we talked to them and we started donating the toys to them, and it has been so fulfilling, so awesome. They do a Christmas party every year and they invite us, and I always dress up as like the Grinch or something, right? And it's just so cool to see like the families that we're impacting with these toys. And in the grand scheme of things, it might not be a big deal to a lot of people, but for us, like, donating 600 toys a year is a lot, right? And it means a lot to these families that are local.
It's everything for the families who are actually getting the toys,
yeah,
right?
For sure. And it just feels good to give back, and it feels good to help out the local community. I mean, we'll sponsor other events too, like PTO fairs at schools and whatever little things, but the toy drive is something I think that means the most to, like, me and my wife and to our family. I mean, it's gotten to the point where we have 3 young kids, and we take them at around the holiday season, Christmas time, and we'll go buy toys for the toy drive, and we try to match whatever the customers donate. So, like, if we get 100 toys, we'll try and buy 100 toys, and we take our kids with us, and we tell them, like, they're young, right? My kids are 9, 6, and 5. So you take them to a toy store, they think the toys are for them, right? So we've taught them that, we're picking toys out for people that wouldn't be able to have these toys. So, like, they really have, it's so cool to see how they evolved with it and how they understand it and how they enjoy doing that kind of thing, right? Giving back like that. Like, I think it's a principle sometimes that is not always taught.
Sure, especially this day and age, right?
Yeah.
It seems like we're becoming more and more selfish as a society. Yeah. And then you add in this wrinkle where you said maybe 600 toys isn't such a big deal. It does sound like a lot to me, but perhaps in comparison to some of these national organizations or whatever the case may be, do you think that there's some kind of bystander effect to some degree when it comes to charitable efforts at the local level, where if you feel like it's not going to be enough or put a dent in something, people decide not to do it at all, or figure somebody else is going to do it instead of just contributing what you can? Do you think that happens?
100%. Yeah, 100%. And I think a lot of people too, like, you talk about corporate charities and stuff like that, like, they don't always know where it goes, right? Like, but when you deal with local charities, like, where it goes. It goes right back into the community.
Years ago, it seems like there were communities that were built on small local businesses, and that's how people supported their families. And people, when they went to the store to purchase their own items, they're supporting this other guy's family, and it was all a great sense of community. Yeah, we've lost that a lot today, haven't we?
100%. I mean, I still think it's a little bit out there, but I think a lot of it goes back to, like, how you take care of people and how you talk to people. I think we're a customer service business, right? And I feel like there is no customer service anymore, right? Like, you can go anywhere and there's no customer service. No one goes out of their way for anybody, right? It used to be the standard, and now it's like, it's very rare you see it. So, so many of our customers are like, your customer service is above everyone. It's like, well, if it wasn't for the customer, I wouldn't be here. Like, we train our guys to put yourself in the customer's shoes. How would you feel? Like, hey, you got to spend $1,500 on your car. You don't know what that person's going through. Maybe their hot water heater at home's leaking. Maybe they're trying to pay rent. Like, you don't know what people's struggles are, right? But everyone's got them, right? So, like, we try and put ourselves in the customer's shoes as much as we can. And I think that helps bridge the gap.
Is the difference when you're dealing with large corporations that they're getting instructions from somebody in a corporate office who's could
they're
be
not
a
in
couple
it.
of thousand miles
Yeah,
away,
100%.
and everything like that.
Yeah, 100%.
And they're just looking at numbers,
Yeah.
strictly numbers, no human element involved at all.
Listen, if you're looking at strictly numbers to run a business, you're not going to be in business very long, right? You know, numbers are just numbers. Numbers are a bystander. No matter what numbers you're looking on, right? You have to have that interaction part before you can even look at numbers, right?
And so when you gather up all your guys and you get your team together, you talked about how honesty is an important part of all this. Are there any other values that are very important to you?
I think for us, it's family, right? Like, you know, I'll never do anything if I don't preach it to my team as well. You know, like I said, family's huge, right? Like, I get laughed at all the time for this, but like, you know, back in the day, like Black Friday was a big deal, right? It was a big shopping day. My wife used to always want to go shopping on Black Friday, but I'm like, no, like I gotta be at the shop. Like I'm working, like, you know, you go out and get the deals, but I gotta be at work. And we got to the point where I could go for, you know, a little bit. And I'm like, I don't want my team to be at the shop if I'm not there. Right. Like, so we ended up closing Black Fridays. We closed the shop Black Fridays just because if I'm not going to be there, I'm not going to ask my team to be there. Same with like weekends. Like we're not open on weekends because I want to be with my family on the weekends because that is very important to me. And I think it should be very important to our team as well. And that, again, it just kind of connects all the values, right?
Can you talk at all about the event that you sponsor at the Sportsman's Association?
The shooting day? Yeah. So, I mean, you know, a lot of the guys have the same hobbies and interests, right? And, you know, we take polls. We try and do a bunch of things as a team outside of work because I think it's important to connect outside of work, just not inside the four walls of the office every single day. We spend a lot of time together, right? We're there 40 hours a week. We're at work more than we're at home. So I think it's important to connect outside of work. So, you know, we take polls and see what people want to do. And the one big thing has been this little shoot day that we do. And it's been great. So basically we'll rent out a gun range for the day and we all just kind of go shooting and, you know, it's great. You know, it builds the team up. You know, we all have fun. And even if they've never been around guns or shot, like I've never been really around it until the past couple of years. And it's just fun, right? It's good time and it brings everyone together.
The federal government recently began processing applications under the 925C Relief from Disabilities program. If you're federally prohibited from owning and possessing firearms, you shouldn't wait. We have to act now while this program's available. Visit us at thegunlawfirm.com and schedule a free case strategy session to determine whether you're a good candidate. That was something I was concerned about, especially with the business that I'm in. Dealing with anybody as part of the general public, you never know where they're going to stand and how they're going to react. And I think I accidentally may have left a box of my books in the vehicle one time when I drove it by. And I realized, and I thought, oh no, who knows if they find these and they've got a bad opinion about firearms. Are they going to, you know, send me away and say they can't work on my car anymore or anything like that? But you're the total opposite. You're like, hey, where can I get one of these? Right here.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, for sure.
What do you think about that? How, you know, everything's become so politicized these days and politically charged that, I mean, let's be honest. We just had where somebody was killed because people disagree with the things that he says in public. And I personally think that that's not only horrendous because of the way it took place, but if somebody were to do something like that to somebody who had a different political opinion than people of my camp, I would feel the same exact way. It wouldn't be any different if I disagreed with the person who had that happen to them. But in the aftermath, we've seen so many people on social media and then a lot of people in their friend circles come out and basically endorse what happened or glorify what happened or celebrate what happened. What do you think about how charged everything's become?
I mean, you know, first and foremost, people are people, right? Like, you know, aside from anything that you didn't or did like what he said, he was a father and a husband, right? He just talked about how he felt. And I think in this day and age, people should be able to voice their opinions without being scared of violence or being scared for their life, right? Like, I think that's the one thing that's pretty broken right now is like, you should be able to talk about how you feel and your views and be okay, everyone be okay with that, right? Like, if you have a different view than I do, it doesn't mean you're right or I'm wrong or I'm right and you're wrong. It doesn't matter, right? We can all be different, right? And we all just need to be able to talk about it without having violence always brought into it, for sure, regardless of your political status.
Yeah, it's really much less of who he was and what he said that prompted my response. It's more of what happened and the reason it happened, because that can go anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
Go anyway. And if people don't have a problem with that, that's what really scares me. To compound, obviously what happened was horrific to watch and horrific to see and feel horrible for his family. There's a major, major problem if everybody's not on the same page that this was not okay.
Yeah.
Because we should be able to disagree and still get along. How do we have a community if we can't disagree and get along?
I think that I feel like, people bring politics into places politics don't need to be. And, like business is one of them, right? But there's no need to have politics in business, especially local community business, right? You should be able to service somebody regardless of how they feel about something, right? And I feel like it's getting lost somewhere.
Do you think that some people mistake values for politics for some reason, like if you're promoting the family unit or whatever the case may be?
I think it's getting to that point, unfortunately. I don't know why, and there's no reason for it.
And do you think that some people will start to back off from some of those values in the wake of what we see going on out there? Would that be a bad thing?
I think people just go with the crowd, right? And people are afraid to stand up for what they really believe, and they'd rather just follow the crowd instead. Like, even if they don't believe that, they're like, well, maybe I'm wrong for believing that. It's like, no, like, stand up for yourself. Like, if you believe something like that, then stick with that. Like, don't just follow the masses because that's what everyone else is doing. Like, stick to your values. Don't worry about everyone else's values. Just, I think the world is so worried about what everyone else is doing, where just worry about what you want to do. Worry about, whatever your mission is. Worry about whatever, goals you have. Don't worry about everyone else around you. And I think social media makes it very hard to do that these days.
So along those lines, we see everything being charged over social media. Have you noticed anything different when you're dealing with people in person? Because you deal with a lot of people every day.
Yeah.
Have you ever noticed that anything is different than it would have been, let's say, when you were growing up?
People are definitely more vocal than I feel. I mean, maybe I didn't see that. I was young, right? Like, you try and think of what age that kind of switched, right? But like, I mean, we weren't that vocal, I don't feel like. Or maybe I just didn't see it. I don't know, right? You focus on, whatever you focus on is what you see. And, if you don't focus on that, then you don't see it.
If you don't mind me asking, when did you graduate high school, for example?
2005.
Okay, so we're the same exact age.
Yeah.
But you were raised in Pennsylvania.
Yes.
And so you're saying that maybe you didn't notice a whole lot, but...
Yeah, I mean, maybe I didn't notice that. I definitely don't remember seeing it, right? Like, I don't remember hearing my parents talk about it. I don't remember when, parties would happen. I don't remember people voicing over it all the time. It's definitely not as bad as it is today.
So, being here for that long, were you raised in Chester County? Or?
Yep, yeah, I was born and raised in Malvern.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And what was that like?
I thought it was great. I mean, it was a great little small community for sure.
How'd you get into the motorcycles? Were you into any other team sports, or was motorcycles sort of always your thing?
No, I was, I did soccer. I did wrestling. I did track and field at school. But I never really was that super athletic person, I guess you could say. Like, I was competitive, but not in that sense of a way. And I just feel like there's, you can break the mold, right? Like, just, again, you don't have to always do what everyone else does. Like, you can be yourself and do something that you wanted to do. So my dad grew up riding motorcycles, and he got me a motorcycle when I was 6, and nothing ever happened with it until I was really 8. And I was like, I think I want to start racing these things. And it turned into a huge deal. Like I started racing when I was 8, and at the local level, I ended up going to the national level, and actually was a national champion. And when I was 22, I decided to step away from racing, and because it was pretty much my full-time thing. I was traveling all over the country, and I was like, I'm going to focus on my business. And then I met my wife now, Stephanie, and like I always kind of told her, like, like one day I'm going to own my own business. And I think she was like, okay, yeah. I don't think she really was like, I was actually going to do it. And then when it came time to doing it, she was so supportive and was like, let's do this. Like she knew things that I didn't know. And, it was just really cool and really awesome to have that kind of support, and, still have that support today. Like she'll see things that I don't see. It's awesome, right? Like she brings it to light.
So you said you stepped away because you wanted to start focusing on starting a business?
Yep.
Was there anything else was getting tough on you physically or anything like that?
No. I mean, physically, I could probably kept going for a lot longer. I raced ATVs, so it was motocross, but it was on 4-wheelers. And in 2008, 2010 was my last full-time year racing, but the economy had a huge part in that because there was manufacturers involved with racing, and there was factory teams and all that. And then at the end of 2010, you saw all those teams go away because people, I guess, the market was going down in that for 4-wheelers. So the teams left, and with that, all the money left, and a lot of the good riders left because you couldn't make a living out of it anymore.
Did you know that you wanted to start a family?
I always wanted to. I never thought that I would find someone that wanted to have a family with me, right? But
That's silly.
Yeah.
So this was something that you had looked towards pretty early. I mean, because 22 is relatively young. These days, people are getting married and starting families older and older and older, aren't they?
Yeah.
So 22 is relatively young to know that, hey, I want to go in this direction and start to do that.
Yeah.
And what do you think? Was it the right call?
Yeah, I think it was 100% the right call. Yeah, I mean, actually, yesterday was my wife and I's 12-year anniversary, and it's so cool because, like, I know guys that are our age that are just getting engaged. And again, like the thing that people, they focus on, what everyone else is doing. Like, dude, like it doesn't matter if you get married when you're 40 or when you're 22. Like whenever it's supposed to be for you, it's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, God bless you guys. That's awesome.
Thank you.
And
Thank
3 kids.
Yeah.
Anybody who's not sure about being married and having a family, what would you tell them about that?
It is the best thing that you'll ever do. Like it has the most reward, but it also can have like the most heartache too. Like when you see your kids struggle or like when they get hurt, like it just amplifies all of that, right? But aside from that, like, when they are doing really well, like, it's just the highs are the very highs, and the, like, unfortunately the lows are low, right? Like when they get hurt or something like that.
When you run your business and every move that you make, do you sort of have them in mind? I'm doing 100%. This for my family.
100%. I mean, yeah, we're doing it. Yes, I'm doing it for the community and the people first, but 100%, yeah, for my family, right? Like, and I want to set a good example for them, right? Like, I had someone, one of my other good customers ask me, like, oh, like I have a son, and he's like, oh, your son's going to take over the business one day, right? I'm like, I don't think so. And he's like, why? I'm like, because this was my dream. This is what I wanted to do. I want my kids to find what they want to do, their purpose, their dreams, and I want to help them pursue them. If it so happens to be an automotive, maybe one of my daughters wants to take it over and is super passionate about it, then I would. But it would have to be for the right reasons, not just because, they think it's going to be handed to them or because they're my kids. Like I want them, this journey has taught me to chase my dreams, and I just want my kids to be able to do that as well.
What did your dad do?
He was in manufacturing. He was a plant manager.
And did you learn your work ethic from him?
He definitely worked hard. I think I learned my biggest work ethic from racing because I learned that whatever I put into it, I'd get out of it. Like, when I was doing it full time, that's all I did was I would train and ride all day long. And, I was never supposed to do that. I was never supposed to win a national championship. I was never supposed to be in business, right? But I was relentless and I persisted and never gave up. And I think that's where the work ethic comes from. Just never giving up and just always doing your best and showing up.
What year was the national championship?
2008.
So it's a few years after high school.
Yeah.
Wow. And when you're in high school, are you training like a madman as well?
No, I wasn't training at all. I didn't
Really?
I didn't start training hard until the winter of 2007. And I remember it like yesterday. Like, you know, I told my dad, I was like, hey, Dad, we're going to do this full time next year in 2008. And he's like, we can't afford it. I was like, well, I'll go find some sponsors to help us. And he's like, no one's going to help us. So I remember finding a sponsor to help us. And everyone went down to Florida in the winter months to train. So you lived in Florida and you rode all day long. And I remember leaving for Florida and my dad's like, don't go because I'm not helping you. Like, you got to figure it out. I remember going down to Florida with like $200 in my pocket, and I made that $200 stretch like 3 months.
Wow.
It was definitely tight.
So how did you end up getting the sponsor? You just called around?
Just networking, right? Knowing people in the community and just networking and showing them and telling them like, hey, look, this is my goal and this is what I'm going to do. And I don't care what it takes. I'm going to accomplish it. And when I won the championship my first year out, I was like, it was a huge life lesson, right? Like, if I want it bad enough, you can get it, but you got to work hard and you can't give up.
Did you go another year after that? Or?
Yeah, I did 2009, and then 2010 I won another championship in 2010, and then at that point I was like, all right. I met my wife in late 2009. She would come to some of the races with us, and you know, she was like, all right, it's time for us to settle down, and that's when I was like, all right, yeah, it's time to settle down, focus on the future, and you know.
And you met her locally?
Yep, yeah, met her locally.
Yeah,
she's local too, from Westchester.
So would have been tough with you going down in the off season and everything like that.
Yeah,
and
it would have
being
been
far
tough.
apart.
Yeah, it would have been tough. I mean, I met her in 2009, and I went down to Florida in that winter as well. But I met her towards the end of 2009. But in 2010, I went down, and it was hard for sure. Yeah, it was a short-term play. It wasn't going to be a long-term. You know, racing wasn't going to be a long-term thing at that level.
How long do people typically do that? Is it usually a few years and done? Or?
I mean, some guys make a career out of it and do it, you know, 10 plus years, and some guys do it like I did. You know, I was doing it my whole life, but that intensely, I did it for 3 years. Yeah, and then, you know, I just looked at the end goal, right? Like, I'm like, I saw the writing on the wall that there was really no future. So I was like, all right, let me go make my own future now with my family.
Do you have the kids participating in sports now?
Yeah,
Sports?
my kids are participating in sports. So my oldest plays softball, and she races dirt bikes as well. And my middle daughter, she is a huge soccer player. She loves soccer. And then my son, he's into baseball, football, and also racing dirt bikes as well.
Oh, wow. So it sounds like you got a busy household over there.
Yes. Spring and fall is definitely crazy for sure. We're always running somewhere every night. We got practice or something going on. And yeah, never a dull moment for sure.
And so you're out there meeting people. And it sounds like you have somewhat, I don't want to say an old fashioned lifestyle, but all the things that were good about the world years ago, you're involved with because of being a small business owner and because you have a family. You're out there with the kids in sports and everything like that. You're getting out there meeting people in the community.
Yeah. I'm the football coach. Like, I want to be involved with my kids' sports. I want them to know that, you know, as a family, we support whatever they want to do.
And so social media is charged, as we were talking about. Do you think that sometimes when people get the majority of their interactions from social media as opposed to face-to-face with people in their community, that causes problems?
Yeah, for sure. I think, you know, people, you know, paint a picture of themselves, and, you know, you can fake your lifestyle on social media, right? But, like, you know, at the end of the day, it doesn't mean anything. There's, you know, a very, very small percentage of people that make a living on social media, right?
It's sort of unavoidable, though, because even if you're not making a living, these aren't the days where we have the yellow pages, right?
No, it's true. It's true.
I mean, these clips are going to be on social media. People are going to watch, the way they're going to watch this conversation is going to be on some form of social media, whether it's YouTube or podcasts or seeing clips on Instagram. And, you know, as a business owner today, you're going to have to...
It's a double-edged sword for sure. I mean, I could tell you all the benefits of social media, and then obviously there's a lot of negatives too. But, I mean, that's anything in life.
Do you think it's tough with the kids to sort of monitor their use of social media and technology these
for
days?
sure. That's a huge thing, right? Like, my daughter is 9 and she already wants a cell phone. It's like, no, like we're not giving you one of those till the last possible minute, right? Like, but the good thing about our kids, like, they're so active. Like, yeah, my daughter has an iPad. All 3 of our kids have an iPad. My oldest is the only one that ever uses it. And when she uses it, it's only for maybe an hour a day, and not even every day. It's only on like the weekends she'll want to use it, but we're so busy, and like we connect with our family. Like, like you go out to these restaurants these days and you see, like, nothing against it, it's just not how I wanted to do it. Was like, you see these kids with iPads at the table, and mom and dad are on their phone looking at their phone. It's like, why'd you guys go out to dinner? You guys are just staring at your screens. Like, interact with each other. Like, we never did that. Like, we never brought iPads to dinner. Like, we conversate, right? Like, we talk to each other like that. I feel like that's how it should be, but whatever, however you want to do it's fine. But like, I just think it's you're losing that connection with your kids.
When you were growing up, obviously, we didn't have those sorts of things.
I was excited to have a pager. I mean, my dad's like, you want a cell phone or a pager? I'm like, I want a pager. And then I get the pager thing and I'm all cool. And then my buddy's like, that's cool, but I got a phone. Like, when they paid you, how are you going to call them? I'm like, I'm going to use your phone. And he's like, why didn't you get a phone?
I got quarters in my pocket. Go to the payphone.
For sure.
Man, we're becoming old men, right?
Yeah, right? That's crazy. Like, my kids don't even know what a pager is.
It's got to be tough, though, because it's not like there's a manual out there for when do you start introducing your kids to technology and everything like that, because the world's developed really fast in terms of this stuff. I mean, I don't know what year the iPhone first came out, but it's not terribly long ago. No. And so we don't have decades of research and data as to how this affects children when they're growing up. So you really got to make some educated guesses, I suppose, right?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it all comes back to my wife. She's a huge advocate for all that stuff. She's got a great head on her shoulders, and she's always got a great plan of attack when it comes to that stuff. So I kind of follow her lead, and we parent really well together.
Do you think that some of it goes to looking at what worked in previous generations?
I think so. I think it comes back to your core values.
Yeah. And so being around family and things like that. Yeah. Because some kids, I suppose, will learn their values from technology, from social media, from TikTok and everything. And that sounds like it would be pretty dangerous, no?
I think it would be pretty dangerous for sure. Because you don't know who's out there, right? Like, you don't know what they're going to, you can't stop them from what they're going to watch, or, like TikTok, right? You watch one video of one subject and then like you see 10 videos of the same subject, where like it just kind of feeds the machine, right?
You never know what's going to pop up.
Yep.
Whether they're intentionally targeting certain things and everything like that.
Yeah.
People get brainwashed, it seems like, based on that stuff.
For sure.
So what are some of the things that you do to instill these values other than leading by example and everything like that?
I would say the other things that we do is, as far as our kids, like, let them fail. Don't let them be afraid to fail at something, right? Like, if they lose a soccer game, like, it's okay to lose. Like, there's winning and there's losing, right? Like, it's okay. It's okay if you failed that spelling test. Like, it's okay. Did you try your best? Did you learn? Perfect. It doesn't matter if you pass or fail. And I feel like, again, it sometimes gets lost in translation that, oh, you always got to win, or, or you always got to get good grades. It's like, as long as you're trying your best and doing everything you can, that's all that matters. You'll learn more out of that than you will out of, learning that word to spell, right?
Perseverance and persistence, those kinds of values, something that you had to, again, lead by example during 2020 when we had the lockdowns and everything like that. I'd imagine that was incredibly challenging for an automotive business, where I know my car sat in the same spot for a few months. It was during that period of time, wasn't getting any maintenance or anything like that.
It was extremely hard. It was extremely hard because in January of 2020, we opened up our second location, and, me and my wife were already nervous, right? Like, we were already nervous about starting a second shop. And, we finally were like, all right, let's just do it, right? So we did it, and then April rolls around and shut everything down. And, we were starting to build a team, right? Because I couldn't be at two places at once. And, we went down to just having myself at one location and one technician. And then same at the other location, just one person in the office and one technician. And we would go from servicing, 70 to 100 cars a week per location to 4 cars to 5 cars a week. So it was a huge, huge hurdle to overcome. But again, it taught you about persistence and sticking to your values, and we got through it.
We talk about family being the motivator for business and success. Yeah. That's also an added pressure, though,
for sure,
because when you're looking at a situation like that and you don't know where the business is going to come from and how you're going to survive and everything like that, plus you've got a family to support, that must have been scary, no?
Yeah, it was definitely scary because my son was just born, he was born in March of 2020. So it was very, wow, very, very scary, for sure. We had 2 kids already and my son, and starting that new location. Like, I think if anyone had the pressure, it was my wife. She had to deal with all of it, right? She dealt with the newborn. She dealt with me and my stress at work and the schooling of, with kids and, all of it. I mean, I think at the end of the day, like, we both bared it, but she had to deal with it all, right? Like,
but you got through it.
Yeah, for sure. We got through it, and we're better for it. It taught us a lot of things, right? Like, if anytime you go through something hard, you definitely want to always make sure you take the values that you learned out of it so you can learn from it, right? And make sure you don't make those certain mistakes again.
Well, I don't think you made any mistakes in that situation.
Listen, I'm sure I made a ton of mistakes, but
not in that situation where you're supposed to have a crystal ball and be like, hey, let's not open up in January because
yeah, for sure. But I think you learn how to handle those situations, right? Like, no one's ever been through anything like that, right? At least not in our lifetime. And to go through it, you definitely learn from it, right? And it also gives you a little bit of humbleness, right? Like, a lot of people take for granted what they have, and I think that was a good reset and reminder of, like, you can't always take it for granted.
If somebody was looking into starting their own business, they'd probably have all sorts of hesitations. It's very rare that somebody has no hesitations whatsoever. Yeah. I think you got to probably be nuts if you're starting a business and you have stuff to lose and you have no hesitations. What advice would you give them?
I would just say that, just do it, right? Just do it. Just jump. Just do it. If you're that motivated to do it, if you're really that passionate about it, if you really believe in what you're doing, just do it. Just jump. So many people are afraid to jump off that cliff thinking their parachute won't open. Just jump. It'll open. You'll figure it out. You're going to get bumps and bruises. You might get a couple of broken bones, whatever. You'll make it. Just if your persistence will always get you through it, right? But if you're that passionate about something, just jump. Just do it. Take the leap, and you won't regret it.
The Sunoco was your first location?
Sunoco was my first location, yeah.
How'd you find that?
It was just, we were looking at a bunch of other different shops, and me and my wife walked into that shop, and, it was just, we were like, all right, this seems like it will work. I was a little bit nervous because we were sharing the spot with Sunoco, but it worked. We made it work. And again, we learned and adapted with it. And, it was just one of those situations where you had to do it, right? Like, yeah, could I have tried to find another location? Yeah. And if I did that, I'd probably still be looking for my first location right now, right? I'm like, what? We're just going to jump and do it. We're going to make it work.
Letting perfect be the enemy of good.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't worry about being perfect. Just worry about being consistent.
Wasn't that the case much more back in the day, though, that you had the gas station and the mechanic in the same location?
Yeah.
That you could find. It seems like it makes sense.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
People with cars go to gas stations.
Yeah, for sure.
If you get something that's going on, you see them.
I mean, back in the day, right? Like, they used to check your tire pressure, check your fluids. Like, there used to be a guy that would run around, like, put gas in your car and, like, check your car real quick, right? Like, that's not very. You don't see that much anymore.
So this would be a fun one. What kinds of things can people do to sort of extend the life of their vehicle? Are there any legitimate maintenance things that you got to stay on top of?
I mean, the biggest one is oil changes. Just stay on those oil changes, because these cars these days use such thin oil that it doesn't take much for these engines to go bad. And the simplest thing you can do is change your oil. And go off that sticker or go off that maintenance reminder on your dash. Like, don't ignore it. Just do that.
What about the type of vehicle? Is there anything that's preferable? Because when I watched the Welsh Automotive poll from all the employees,
Yeah.
it seemed like Toyota was the number one thing.
Yeah. I mean,
And the reason I have the car I have right now is because I asked you which one you think would be best to work on. It's not a Toyota. Do you have any insight about that?
I mean, I can tell you every car has their issues, and every car, there's no perfect car out there, right? If you go electric versus gas, or if you go, exotic, or, European versus domestic, or whatever. They all are going to have their issues, but I would definitely say, like, Toyotas and Lexuses are really good. Honda and Acura is also really good. But I mean, like I said, there's going to be issues with all of them. There's just a little bit less issues with those.
Do we need more good, solid American cars in this country?
I mean, I think you have some good, solid ones. There's some good, solid options out there. I mean, again, look, I could pull out some German cars that aren't that good. I can pull out some Asian cars that aren't that good. I can pull out some domestic cars that aren't that good. But I mean, I think if you just do your research, you'll see which ones are bad and which ones are good, and you can make a good, educated decision.
Has it come a long way since years ago? I mean, are cars for the most part getting better as a whole?
I think they are. I think the issue becomes, like, they put so much technology in cars these days. Like, there's so much technology. Like, for example, like, massaging seats. Like, what? Why do you need a back massage while you're driving to work? Like, I think they put some unneeded things in cars, and when they do that, they have to come up with that money from somewhere, so they take out of somewhere else in the car, right? So I think that is one issue that I see.
And is it sort of like a string of Christmas tree lights, where if one bulb goes bad, you get problems everywhere else? Where if can, like, the seat massager cause problems with something else electrically?
For sure.
Or
Yeah,
anything
for
like
sure.
that?
Because everything talks to everything talks to each other now. Like, back in the day, like, when you had a carburetor, like, there was no electronics on a car, right? Like, if you had an issue with the carburetor, it was with the carburetor, right? Now, everything's in a network and talking to each other. Like, your massaging seat doesn't work, and then the radio might not turn on, or, like, your turn signal might not work. It's just, like, some weird issues that you see electronically now.
Is it feasible to have an older car that doesn't have all of those technological problems with it these days? Like, could you feasibly maintain it and get replacement parts and everything like that?
I mean, we can getting parts isn't the big issue. The biggest issue in our area is the rust, right? Like, that's the biggest thing of keeping an older car on the road, is they just get so rusty and start falling apart. Like, the frames of the vehicle just start rotting out, and that's where it becomes an issue. Aside from that, but yeah, I mean, you could definitely maintain older cars. You go anywhere in the country, right? You go to, like, Florida, you go to Arizona, or somewhere, where it's warm and they don't have rust and all that stuff. You see all kinds of older cars on the road still.
Do you have any stories that stand out in your head of somebody who came to you and they were quoted to do some kind of crazy job or anything that they didn't need, where they're being misled by the person previous, or maybe there was some kind of repair done that was unnecessary and made things much worse? I'm sure you have tons of stories like that, but do you have any that stand out?
I mean, there's a ton that stand out, but I mean, the same situation that brought you to us, and that whole situation, we see that probably 3 to 4 times a month, right? That same issue, right? And it's like, again, you just keep the best interest of the customer at heart, and you make the right decisions. But yeah, I mean, there was one issue. It was on a Corolla. They went somewhere for state inspection. They told them they needed a catalytic converter replaced to pass inspection because it was cracked and it was leaking. Now, catalytic converters, that's like one of the most expensive parts on a car, right? So it was a very expensive bill. I think it was like a $2,500 bill to replace at that time. And the person wanted to get a second opinion. They brought it to us, and I was the actual one. I was the technician and working in the office at the time, so I was the one that actually worked on the car. And I couldn't see anything wrong with it. It wasn't leaking, it wasn't cracked, and I really was trying to find something wrong with it, and I couldn't find anything. And they failed it for inspection for it, and I passed it. The customer got so upset, she went to the state and was like, hey, look, this person told me I needed this. I didn't. I went somewhere else. They said that that it passed, and I'm frustrated because it would have cost me $2,500 that I didn't need to spend. So the state got involved, and they ended up coming to my shop with the car. They called the customer, and they brought the car back to my shop to re-inspect it. And the guy was like, yeah, I don't see anything wrong with it. And he ended up leaving and going to that other shop and taking the guy's inspection license. Like, unfortunately, that was, on the higher end of the stories, right? Like of bad situations. But, we see it, unfortunately, a lot still. And it's unfortunate.
How did they get away with that? How would you be inspecting to find a cracked and leaked catalytic converter? Is that something that would throw the check engine light on?
Sometimes it would turn the check engine light on, but they were failing it before an exhaust leak. So like in our state, in Pennsylvania, we have state inspections, and one thing is you can't have a exhaust that's leaking. So they said that it was leaking from the catalytic converter, and that's why they failed it.
It's just totally not true.
Yeah, I mean, maybe listen, there's so many different people out there, right? There's so many different, people can look at one car. You can get 20 people looking at one car, and you get 20 different answers. You know what I mean? So like, it's all about perspective, I guess.
Any stories of somebody came in and another mechanic messed stuff up?
Oh yeah, we've seen that. We've seen that 100 times too. Like we've seen misdiagnosis. I mean, we're not perfect either. No one is, but it's how you handle those bad situations that make it better, right? Everyone gets themselves in a bad situation. We work on a lot of cars, stuff happens, but when you get in those situations, how you handle those situations is what makes the difference.
Do you deal with any other business owners in the area?
Yeah, we work
in
on
Chester County.
Yeah, we work on a lot of fleet cars, and we all talk.
Yeah. And so, have you made friends with other people in the community through them being business owners as well?
Yeah, 100%. Oh yeah, I've made some really good friends that are business owners that I would never met if I wasn't a business owner myself, just, connecting that way.
Can you think of any? Because I feel like we're at such a point in this country where we're seeing all these things on social media. We're not connecting with people face to face, and we're not supporting other people in our community. Things are only getting worse and worse.
Yeah.
And if we actually have recommendations like, hey, this guy's a good guy, go see him, and that sort of thing, then maybe we make a small bit of a difference. It's kind of like the toy situation you were talking about, how, hey, maybe this isn't too many toys. And maybe us telling people you should go check somebody out won't make a huge deal in the grand scheme of things, but I think it's better than doing nothing.
Yeah,
and I feel like I don't want to be that bystander who says, I'm not even going to mention it because it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah. I think there's a couple great, we're very lucky in our area to have some really good businesses, right? Like some really good people. I would say, like, if I'm gonna, people that are like-minded like me that are business owners, I would say like Precision Heating and Air for HVAC systems. They are very customer oriented like us. I would say like Limoncello's in Westchester, Chester Springs. They are very customer oriented like us. There's a bunch of them out there. It all depends, but those are the ones that really come to mind.
And maybe we ought to create some kind of network together. Maybe that would be a good thing.
Yeah, for sure.
We get a list together.
Yeah. There's a ton of good businesses out there, right? And, the one thing about businesses is, like, you can run a business however you want. It's your business, right? But I feel like when it comes to customer oriented and really customer focused, those are the really good ones.
Yeah. You ever go to Ron's?
Oh, I love Ron's. Oh yeah, Ron's is awesome too. Ron's is right up there.
Good people.
Yeah, one thing that we do for our team every Friday is we buy lunch every Friday, and we always talk about the week and anything that we need to adjust and fix, and we do it over lunch. And the guys next to always love going to Ron's.
Yeah, it's a great spot.
Yeah, for sure.
So anything you want to leave anybody with that they should know about you as a man, as a business owner? I think we've covered a lot today about your origin story and things that are important to you in life. Is there anything else you'd want people to know about you?
I think that's pretty much it. It's no different than anyone else, right? The story's nothing different, right?
Well, I don't know about that, because there's a reason why we don't have a ton of small businesses
Yeah,
today
it's true.
that thrive.
It's true.
I think that it takes courage to get that started. I think it takes a whole lot of work to get it up and running.
Yeah. I think people underestimate how much work and how long it's going to take. People, I think, are so, this day and age, everyone wants everything right now. And if you start a business right now, it's not going to be successful tomorrow. There's no such thing as an overnight success, right? Everyone's like, oh, he's such an overnight success. Like, dude, like people say that about us still. I'm like, we've been doing it 10 years. Like, I've worked from 6 a.m. to 3 in the morning and then back again at the shop at 6 a.m. I did that for years, right? Like, and I'd do it again if I had to, right? Like I do whatever it takes. And I just think that people think success should happen really fast, and it doesn't always happen fast.
Well, even today, being the boss, ultimately everything lands on you. So if there are problems that can't be handled by the next person in line, then you got to deal with it no matter what part of the business it relates to.
For sure. At the end of the day, it all falls on me. And the good thing is, like I said, we created a very good team atmosphere. So like, it's very team oriented. Like, I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus. Like I said, we can all make mistakes. We all learn from the mistakes. If a mistake's made, we all learn from it. We all talk about it. We all move on. If something really good happens, we all talk about it and we all move on. Right? Like it's a very team based oriented shop.
Any personal advice for anybody as far as how we can make our community better? I'm asking you to solve the world's problems. You came on to solve the world's problems. I expect you to cure hunger and homelessness. And
I would just say, just just stick to your beliefs too. Just stick to what you believe in. Don't just go with the crowds.
I think that's very important today, now more than ever, where people are being attacked for sticking to what they believe in. Yeah. Do you think there's a reason to shy away? I know that.
I think people are afraid of other people's opinions. Like, that's one thing I don't remember is people didn't care about what other people's opinion was. Like, everyone could have them, right? And it's fine. Like, again, you can think what you think. I can think what I think, and none of us are right or wrong. Doesn't matter.
I halfway expected you to not want to do this today because of what's going on. People coming on. There's no secret about our leanings on this program and the things that we believe in, conservative Christian values. Not to say that we're attacking anybody on the other side or anything like that, but our listeners are people who believe in that. And I halfway expected you to say, hey, I got something else to do.
I was definitely nervous. For sure. Because again, as a business owner, like, I don't care what your political views are. I don't care what your opinions are. I don't care. All I care about is making sure that you're happy and that your car is taken care of the right way. That's all I care about.
Everybody's having a respectable interaction.
Yeah, that's it.
Like that.
I don't care. At the end of the day, we're people.
That is one thing that leads me to another question, though. We're talking about having respectable interactions. I know that on your side, you focus on the customer service. Have you ever had an issue where a customer was being unnecessarily rude to your employee and you had to get involved? Because I have had that happen. I will go to bat for them in those situations.
Yeah, I mean, I go to bat for our team too, but honestly, like, no, not really. No. I mean, we've been taken advantage of because we're too nice, right? Like that people take our niceness, or take our kindness for weakness, I should say. But we handled it and we dealt with it and we learned from it, right? Like, that's the one issue. We had one issue where we had a customer come in that their transmission was acting up, and I looked at it and I was like, hey, he's like, you think it's okay to drive? I'm like, I've seen other cars like this, and sometimes they last, sometimes they don't, but you should be safe to drive. But if it does this or this, bring it back or, get it taken care of. Basically, it needed a transmission replacement. And it turned into this huge nightmare. And they wanted to point the blame at us for all kinds of different things. And at the end of the day, me and my wife talked about it, and we ended up paying for their transmission. I put a transmission in it, didn't charge the customer one bit. And then they turned around and still tried to sue us over it. It was just insane.
Oh,
it was a mess.
That is insane.
It was a mess. But again, like, it's a rarity. And like I said, we just try and do the right thing all the time. That's it.
Well, Shawn, you're one of the good ones. I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, Mike. I love it.
We miss you, Ellie. Daddy loves you. Thanks for tuning into the Mike G and the Garbage Gang podcast. If you want to be a proud member of the Garbage Gang, we need you to like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, check out one of the recommended videos, and comment. Tell us what you think. We love having you as a member of the Garbage Gang. We'll see you next time.